Quantum Conversations, your portal to the inner realms. Access infinite possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, luminaries, and healers of today's world. Usher in New Earth by living in your sacred heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by AcousticHealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at AcousticHealth.com. AcousticHealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the Quantum Realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. We are talking about stepping into personal power during this great shift of the ages and creating boldly in New Earth. My guest today is Aileta Grace, who is a channel of the Ascended Masters, those of higher consciousness as well as off-planet beings and the Angelic Realm. Aileta Grace is the higher self of Deb Reyes, and Deb Reyes is a personal friend of mine. On this journey, when we first met, it was like two souls that were reunited in this lifetime. Deborah, or Aileta Grace, is here with us today to answer your questions and bring forth New Earth messages from the Masters. Aileta Grace, welcome to Quantum Conversations. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness, my sister. I am so excited to be here on this beautiful platform. I'm so proud of you and the way you bring forth all this information for all of us. So I want to thank you from my high heart and thank this community for bringing forth all this beautiful love and caring for all of us, because we really do need this at this time.
Absolutely. We really do need this. And so I just want to share how special Deb is. She is so connected in with her higher self and with her mission on this planet. She's known it from such a very young age in life. We're going to hear her story, but I do just want to say that this is someone who literally works in the trenches, and she brings a higher perspective 100% of the time. She works in a metropolitan police department, and it has not been easy since I've known Deb over the last decade. There's been some mega stuff that goes down, and yet this being, this beautiful Deb, has always held a vibration that indeed affects the field in the police department that she works at. And so my point is, whoever we are, whatever we are doing in an old earth or a 3D realm, if we want to call it that, or we could even call it the realm of that which brings us currency into our lives, that when we do those jobs, when we come from that higher place, that is the best way that we can show up. And so, Aileta, as you are making ways to come forward in your life in a very powerful way, you are still in service in the trenches. And so I just say I'm very proud of you because that is a great role model for others. And one of the things that is very exciting with you is that the what you are bringing forth as an attorney is divine law. So I want to give you a moment to speak to this and also share your story, because since you were a little girl, you've always been able to channel. So you can start anywhere you wish there.
Okay. Well, you've mentioned me enough on the show, and my ears start buzzing, and I always know that it's you talking about me on the show. So I was recently, yes. Mm-hmm. I was recently, as you know, in Botswana and sub-Saharan Africa, and such a beautiful country and such a beautiful experience with all the people there, and they are so lovely, and there were three of us instructors, and in the midst of sharing stories and trying to share information, they were very strict about this one thing, which was 10:30 a.m. was tea time, and everybody put their phones down and their computers down, and we said, okay, no more class right now, we're going to tea time. And we'd walk across this campus, this gorgeous campus in Botswana, in Gaborone, which is the capital of Botswana, and we would enter the campus building where they have the dormitory, and tea time was very elaborate. But nice. The people that I was with said, wow, this is great, we need to do this. Yes. And I said, yeah, we need to share our stories, we need to look at each other eye to eye, we need to have that beautiful cup of tea and just be together. So everywhere we are, no matter where it is an opportunity to bring grace and comfort and love. I've had many what I call earth assignments. I think that I've been fortunate to just sort of have kind of crafted into my DNA, if you will, trusting the process of life. Even when things are not going as well as the ego Deborah or the person Deborah would like. But my story begins at the age of 5. And at the age of 5, I lived in an apartment with my parents and my brother in New York City, in Queens. And my bedroom faced the rooftop of a garage. We lived on top of a grocery store. And I remember going to bed one night, and I do recall fully a being that I have come to know as Nestor. I'm sure he has many other names, but he expresses as a beautiful Native American chief, all dressed in white with a beautiful white headdress down to the floor, made of white feathers. And he was able to assist with the process of switching the consciousness which resides in my being right now with the one who held the space. So I'm what you call a walk-in. Mm-hmm. And I do remember the extended experience. I remember thanking the being that was about to depart. I remember Nestor riding me through the universe on this beautiful, glorious white horse, and circling the Orion belt, and many things about that. And I remember the next morning waking up and telling my mother I had an experience, that it was not a dream. And I remember that she made pancakes, and up until that time I hated syrup, but that morning I had syrup. Remember the switch, and it was really interesting. So it begins there, a full memory of that
experience. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was one thing that stuck in your consciousness. Did anyone else in your family experience a different you at 5 years old?
I don't know. I've never really, it's interesting, even with us being so out about ascension processes and all the things we're experiencing right now, I've never gotten into a discussion about that, despite the fact that my mother is extremely spiritually open, very, very open. I remember when I was growing up, my father, who worked on Wall Street, he once looked at me when I was about 11 and he goes, you know, you and I had a past life together. We were both Tibetans. And I just shook my head and accepted it as, okay, I can see that totally. So it begins there. And while growing up, it was never unusual for just people to sit in my mother's living room and come over and just channel. And so that's how I met my grandfather. I was about 8 years old, and we had a very wonderful friend and neighbor who would bring him through. And he always told me I was a light worker and that I would continue to be as such for the rest of my life. And and he was a medium and a healer and a channeler. And so that's very common in my family, in my mother's lineage in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead. Fascinating. I've got other questions, but continue.
And so my grandfather, his name was George Sassport. He and his father were both spiritualists, and they used to hold conferences and talks and write. They were both from Puerto Rico. And my grandmother used to be very upset with my grandfather because he used to help everybody. Anybody who knew him, anybody who knew that he had this capability would come knocking on the door day and night. And he was sort of like an Edgar Cayce in his day and age. He would put a glass of water and he would meditate and pray. And he would assist people in a healing process or a purging process. And so I've always known that. And he always spoke to my mother about galactics, that we are not alone. And he used to explain to her that we would one day be on the moon. And this was in the 1950s, he told her this. He didn't live to see it naturally. And he told her that he wouldn't. And so this type of thing is something that I grew up around. And around the age of 11 or 12, I went to what we would call kind of a seance or a celebration of people who practice Santeria, which is a spiritual religion in the Yoruba tradition. And we were in a circle, and there was stew in a pot, and everybody was just having a wonderful time, and there was chanting and singing and drumming. And all of a sudden, a spirit guide entered me, one of the guides that was there, and I just started jumping, and I went all around the circle, and I felt myself having stepped aside, but I also felt myself not being in control of the situation, which was off-putting initially. And
sure.
We went around in this circle, off-putting, that's a nice way to say it, right? It's like, what's going on? And there were other teenagers and kids in the room, and they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. And I remember very specifically, my mother was in the circle, and when I arrived to her, and this being was greeting her, it was a very special greeting that the being gave. I do believe that it was Nestor again coming through, just confirming and acknowledging that I came in with this particular ability. And I was, thrown and frightened, because we do get frightened when we're young and we don't quite know what to make of these things, especially if you're going to be bullied or made fun of, which sure. I was for a minute there.
And you then, didn't shut it down, though.
No, I didn't shut it down. And then the way the profession came to me, because I think this might be of interest, which was kind of odd. I was about the same age. It was 6th grade, 5th grade, and we were in the schoolyard, and some boy was beating up this girl, and I just walked right in the middle of them, and I said, "What are you doing? You need to stop." And he goes, "Well, then they started to argue, and he said to me, well, who are you, her lawyer? And I said, my back straightened up, and I said, yes, I'm her lawyer. And I went home that day, and I just told my mom, I don't really know what this entails, but I'm going to be a lawyer. And she just looked at me and said, okay, if that's what you really want to do, then do it. You could do anything you want in life. And so I hurried through schooling. And, in these times when we're very I've set my goals, I've got my chart here, here's my list of things to do. One of my things to do was to get through college and law school, and I rode on the wings of angels and graduated at the age of 20 from law school. I don't know how that happened. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not saying it to impress, but, I was on a trajectory.
You had a mission, absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, and I've had many jobs, as an attorney, but I never...
That took you to the prisons of New York?
Well, yes, when I was in college still, I traveled with a group of international jurists from around the world, and we were asked by the United Nations to travel through the country, taking a look at possible human rights violations in our prison system to make it better, to talk to the people, to find out what they need, to find out how we could impart more humanity into these systems. And then I went to law school after that, and when I, sometime in my early career, I was asked by the governor of New York to head up a regulatory, Governor Cuomo, yes, the senior Cuomo, the father of the current governor, to work on issues of improving and the conditions, and that was an interesting development. And during that time, which was in the late 80s and early 90s, I became extremely committed to the path of spirituality. And I wanted to know everything I could know about everything. And so I went for a reading in Manhattan, and I met Frank Alper, who maybe some know him, maybe they don't, but he's written many books, and he was the founder of a metaphysical society in Arizona. And so he gave me a reading, and he is present with me because he's helping me come out to play. He's helping Aileta Grace come out to play. And he is the being that told me that I was Aileta Grace. He gave me my spiritual name. And so Frank Alper and I became good friends, and I became his student, and learned about many things, and became more of an acute channel at the time. Became a Reiki master, became a minister, an ordained metaphysical minister. Learned as much as I could about crystals. Learned as much as I could about rebirthing. And this was in the midst of having that assignment with the prison system. So that's part of my story, and Frank played a very important role. He was always connected to his higher self, and he would tell us that, and I didn't quite understand that until not too long ago, maybe in the last 10, 15 years, when I started recognizing that there's a portal to our higher self. And it's been a very, very special journey indeed. So that's I ran out of words for the moment.
Portal to the higher self. Yeah,
portal to the higher self.
And that's the name of the game these days. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your story, because it is beautiful just to see the drive and the synchronicities that came about and your own awakening, and to be able to channel. I just want to say, you have connected me with my team in a way that no one else has. And the messages, primarily Jwal Kul, the Tibetan master, is always present when you and I get together, and he's one of the masters on my team. And I just want to say that this has really helped me tremendously on my mission and my purpose. And so that's really why you're here today, is because these masters that you channel, we were chatting earlier today, and you could already feel
right
some of these masters coming in. We've got
right.
Saint Germain, Dwal Kul, and there's a new one. So we're going to give you the space now to begin to channel. And our listeners will have some questions for you too.
Okay.
So when you do this, you are really stepping back, and your voice does not change, but the message
sometimes.
is... Oh, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you might hear a little inflection here and there. Just a note about channeling. I think it's always fascinating, and many of your guests, many of the way showers, light workers, and that are on your show do channel. It's a little different for everyone, but we all are channeling all the time. Really, it depends on how open our centers are. And channeling really is just the ability to recognize and connect with frequencies. They're like radio frequencies, but they're filled with light and music and color and tone and texture. And so far as we are all individuals, and there's no one like Loren, there's no one like Deb. They are, not only are they individual expressions of very, very high beings from what I call creation soup, the ultimate Godhead and Mother, Father, God, but they are personalities, they are guides, they are friends, and we can all access the people or the beings that are around us to guide and assist. And every once in a while, there may be a shift. The Ascended Masters themselves have gone through some shifts because we have gone through some shifts. So as I was saying, not only do they individually express, but they also express as a collective, much like the community that's online right now, much like the community of human beings, much like the community of mammals that I encountered in Africa. We all express as collectives as well. And so today, I don't know how it's going to go. I will say that it appears that your audience or there's people in this community that want to hear from Master Kuthumi. I've never channeled Kuthumi. This is new for me. Lord Maitreya came sort of just full throttle to my beingness, and he and I do speak. I have a connection to him that, let's just say that in a world where governance and politics and all of the nuances that fragment us are very profound in our society, he works on that level, and he comes through to teach some things about that so that we don't get too distracted, but that we keep mindful of what's important. Yes, and Dwal Kul is here. And Dwal Kul, just so you know, I'm going to bring him through for a minute. He's not going to monopolize today, but he does consider himself a co-producer on your show. He's making me laugh already. He loves it. I
would call him executive producer.
Actually, he did say executive to me, but then I said, "Come on," because I'm one of those individuals that once you experience the masters, the archangels, even the galactics, who are different from us in some ways, it's like having a cup of tea with a dear friend. You don't have to be frightened or afraid or intimidated. We are masters. Each and every one of us are masters. To have had the courage to incarnate at a time like this, to have been fearless, to have come through, to devote yourself to new technologies and opening hearts and sharing your story it's bravery, it's courage. And so they applaud us. As much as we applaud them, they applaud us. And so we always have to stay mindful of that. These are dear, dear friends. And so I'm going to bring through dear, dear friends while cool. And so I was going to just say, finishing up the footnote about the voice, it depends on to what extent the frequency of the being shares my frequency. Because once you've been channeling like this for a while, you really don't necessarily, the voice box doesn't have to change that much, but every once in a while there's an inflection and they do, and it depends on how much I step aside. I have done trance channeling, but it's not the way that I usually go about it. I usually just step aside and stay aware. And sometimes I won't remember something because you do get called aside sometimes. But usually I'm fully present. And so I'm going to bring in Dwell Cool now.
Thank you.
You're a very dear friend. My dear sister, peace, peace, peace be unto you. This is DK. And I want to say hello to everyone. Deborah is being brave herself today. She has come out to play and share a message that is so, so important. What I want to say to all of you is, do not be distracted by the news, the cycles of storylines and disaster and unfortunate circumstances. We would say that to clear yourself from these stories, to go into meditation, you do not have to do it for long periods of time, but every once in a while, tune out and tune in and be that higher self. Today we were conversing with Aileta Grace. Aileta Grace had this picture in her mind that we gave her, which we want you to use, which is, imagine yourself as an astronaut. And as an astronaut, you clear the Earth's gravitational pull. And then you gently float out into space. And you're in a ship of your own creation. You've got beautiful view of all around you. And as you just pull away from Earth, you could see her moon. You know where her sun is. And then you pull further and you see the galaxies. And then you become oddly aware that the universe, our universe, is part of an even larger multiverse. And suddenly things of Earth become things of Earth. And suddenly you enter what Aileta Grace calls the portal of your higher self. Where does your higher self reside in these matters? The disagreements, the leaders that are struggling to find the portal of their higher self, the factory workers, the banking industry. Everyone's so busy. Everyone's so distracted. So this is a peaceful place. And here's where we tell you all is well. All is peace. We are beings, individuated fractals of light and love. We honor each other with our presence. And we even honor each other with our disagreements, as long as we find the place of respect and mutual kindness. We will always be able to have a disagreement, see things a little differently. But at the end of it all, we float above it and we see that all experiences are divine experiences. And yes, we are coming into further points of grace, ascension, if you will. And as we do this, and as the masters come together, and I speak of you, I am not speaking of those of us that you cannot see, but you will soon. I am speaking of you, the masters, the leaders, the guides, the healers, the way showers, the ascended masters on terra firma, who know, despite great challenges, we will prevail. Gaia is immensely grateful for your commitments, your unwavering love and attention. And all will be well. Every point of light, every being that becomes a little bit more aware because you have encountered them, you have reached out to them, you have stood in a subway, or you have been at a bakery, or been at the grocery store and stood next to them and smiled and said hello. You have affected them. Please make a special effort to engage our young people. These are very brave beings indeed. They have come here with very high frequencies of light. They need you to nurture and recognize who they are. Do not judge them. There's been many, many harsh judgments of these millennials. Do not judge them. They know that this matrix of 3D Earth is crumbling. They are part of that initiative that you all have begun. Many of you. There are some millennials that are listening. And we honor you for your service. So, beings of great peace and light, I say to you, do not fret. Do not feel as though you are not making an impact, because you are. But like ripples on the water, small and steady, as we all go. For those of you who are struggling, I say this: reach out to a broader community. The growth in communities that are aligned spiritually is going to be very important in this now space, in the coming years, in the coming months. Create your communities. Ask for help. Do not do this alone. Do not shut yourself away. And if you say to me, well, I've done that, do more. Do more. Because it is up to the people that surround us to give us strength. And strength will come from many hands of assistance. And we will guide one another through this very elusive time, this very important time. And you will see, everything you do bears fruit. Sometimes we cannot see it. It's right under our nose, but we cannot see it. And sometimes it's not meant for us to see it. Sometimes it's meant for us to develop patience and faith and trust so that we move ahead and carry forth. I bid you, all of you, peace and love and light and more and more and more courage. Many blessings to you, dear ones.
The Tibetan master Jwal Kul speaking through Aileta Grace. That message was very spot on for our times. The judgment or the no judgment, we must float above it, rise above it, and know that it is the respect and mutual kindness and our unwavering love that really is a healing force in our world. And a beautiful message for the millennials and how we shall embrace them. We could literally call them the third wavers, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I love it because Jwal Kul has said before, everyone wants to ascend, but no one's lightening up. So he has an incredible sense of humor as well.
Right, right.
But this was a very moving, very soft, very nurturing transmission today. Quite exquisite. I wonder if we could ask a common question for our group, and we'll let whoever wants to come through. I have said many times, Deb, that you remind me of Judy Callie on the level
such a beautiful person.
Such a beautiful channel, and she is extremely popular now. Her messages of love are bring people to their knees in tears, and that's the messages that you bring forth because you bring the masters through. So a common question for our group is one of mastery, and we already got the transmission of great courage, and we're feeling that courage. For those who want to connect with their purpose and their passion of the soul, can a master speak on the best way for us to tap in and tune into this and move forward?
Okay. I think there are several hands raised. Okay. All right. More tea for me. Hold on, everybody. Just a little bit of tea. All right. Well, you know what? We might have a two-part or a three-part. So
excellent.
I'm just going to shift my body a little bit. And
right.
And Jwal Kul is waving at me goodbye. Not goodbye-bye, but, you know, he's just sort of hanging back a little bit. Okay. So for whatever reason, and I'm very, very privileged and honored for this opportunity, Kasumi, Ascended Master Kasumi, will grace us with his presence. If you just give me a moment to breathe and welcome him in. Good day to you all. I bid you Hello, greetings and peace. This is Lord Kasumi. I am so delighted to have reconnected with Aileta Grace. We are not new to one another, but she has never brought me through. And so this is new experience for her. Thank you all for giving her the opportunity and bringing us forth. I will begin with the very basic principle. We all know the building blocks of the universe is made out of light, and light is who we are. And so for those of you who are new to me or this vibration of this Ascended Master, and I am surrounded by a Brotherhood of Light and Master Maitreya and Jesua and Saint Germain and Portia and Kuan Yin and Mother Mary, the Great Rose, the Great Love. We would like your audience to at least take a few seconds to close our eyes and breathe in the sacred moment. When the Masters convene and we speak to you from these platforms, we cast a very broad net. And so each of you will feel us. And you, just like us, masters at different levels of mastery, because you are all masters and you all have levels of mastery, trust us. You can, with your mind, which is a very powerful tool, open your heart chakra to encompass broad areas of life. And I say areas of life because I could say geographies. I could say you can grow through your neighborhood, your community, your state, your country, your planet. And so as you open your heart chakra and you breathe in and through your heart chakra and out of the heart chakra, your higher self can emanate to vast planetary and interplanetary realms. This is why we have always taught and shown that you are multi-dimensional beings. And we understand that there are levels of, I'm going to call it complications, but not really, just higher degrees of wisdom. And to achieve those higher degrees of wisdom, we say the second rule of divine law, and because Aileta is our divine legal beagle, we are going to say compassion has to develop through and of the self. And so this message is, why be so hard on yourself? We ask you not to judge others, but why do we judge ourselves? And think about that. In the last hour, 2 hours, 8 hours, week, month, how many times have you said, oh, that was wrong, I shouldn't have done that. Or, oh my goodness, I'm never going to ascend. I just blew it. I'm just not ascending. I had too many beers or whatever. Whatever the case may be. I got angry. Or I said something I regret. I didn't come across as spiritual as I could have. Well, I am here to tell you that compassion has to begin at the heart of you. Incarnations on earth at this time, and for many eons in the past, have been challenging, and journeys that are as difficult as they are important, as difficult as they are meaningful, as difficult as they are elevating. Aileta Grace is from New York City, and there's a phrase, if you could make it there, you can make it anywhere. I want to expand that notion, okay? If you could make it on earth, if you could be here and do the things that masters know you are capable of, then you can be a being of great creation in the far reaches of the multiverse. And you already are. This is a historic cycle, and this is why you're here. As to your passion, as to your purpose, no one but you can ascertain it. Your masters, your guides, the angels that surround you, the angels incarnate that surround you. Let us not forget your friends, your lovers, your companions, your pets, a random person you may meet at a coffee shop and say something very kind to you might be the way shower that opens up an entire universe of possibilities. And so, when the masters come through from the other realm, the ascended ones, don't forget about the ones that are around you presently. The ones that are on this platform and others, the ones that have devoted their 100% attention and time to their own ascension for your ascension and for the ascension of the planet. And so how do we do this? There are many ways to access what makes you joyful. But there's no secret. What makes you joyful? It is a basic, fundamental question that you can ask yourself. Aileta Grace, well, she's been in and out of practice of law. She's become a chef. She loves to write. But I'll tell you a secret. She's sitting here saying, oh, okay. Well, we did mention chef. She loves the kitchen. She loves to cook. It is where her most joyful place is. People coming to the house, making things for everyone. The vegans, the vegetarians, the non-vegans and the non-vegetarians. No judgment. Just pure joy. When you love what you do, the love pours into what you do. And so imagine a cake that you taste. Two people made the same cake. Cake number one, you taste it. It's pretty good. You know, something's missing there. Cake number two. You taste that. Oh my goodness, this is delicious. Same recipe. Same science. Same ingredients. The second cake was made with love. And so, as many of us have imparted to you, your friends, your relations, your teachers, your children, your spouses, it's what makes you smile, it's what makes your heart leap. And for some of you in this audience, it scares you. It's a little scary because it has nothing to do with what you're doing right now to make a living. And so, in the practical world, and you know that those of us who have been ascended, who are in this council of light, have incarnated and have walked the walk. And so, compassion for self involves doing things that bring you to a level of comfort. No one will tell you to jump off a cliff to do what you love if you're going to land in a way that is harmful to you and to those around you. Ease and grace are the cornerstones of compassion for the self. So, the rules are, there are no rules other than be as kind to yourself as you possibly can. Open your heart and your mind to be noticing what really makes you shine, what makes you happy. And by the way, this notion of what is spiritual and what is not spiritual in a state of ascension, well, we need to have a new nomenclature, a new paradigm. Just because you love making widgets for a multi-million-dollar corporation doesn't mean you're not spiritual. It means that's what you love to do. And the secrets are, when you come to this planet, you come with at least a dozen wonderful, special talents and abilities. Yes, a dozen. Because masters come with many talents. You come with talents for creativity. You come with talents for science. You come with talents for words and writing. You come with talents for drawing. And some people say, well, I don't have that one, but you have another one. You have a talent for teaching. You have a talent for raising children, for being around young, very young people. You have a talent for gardening. You have a knowledge that will bring us to a new pattern in eating and growing food and cleaning our water supply. You have the knowledge. You came with the knowledge. And so here's another thing, another aspect. For those of you who are saying, yeah, I do, but I'm blocking it. I don't know what it is. How do I know? What do I do? How do I know? How do I get the information? You need to forgive yourself for thinking that you're not spiritual enough. You need to forgive yourself for blocking the information because you're distracted by all of the things around you. And I don't mean family and job. I mean everything. Everything is distracting. And so, breaking away from the matrix. Yes, I said breaking away from the matrix of the third dimension is giving yourself respites, is honoring that moments of peace. And don't get stressed out about so-called spiritual beings telling you you need to work on finding peace. You are self-directed. You are self-directed beings of creation, creator beings. Create your sacred space, like Loren says. And so we hope we have answered your questions. This has been a collective voice. This is Lord Kasumi and the Ascended Masters, along with Aileta Grace, trying to assist you in opening your heart to your highest potential. Loren, we are going to take our leave for a moment and let Aileta Grace come back, okay?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a message of sovereignty, and it is as simple as breathing through the heart, allowing the manifestation of the higher self. This is embodiment. It is how we change our world. And absolutely, we forgive ourselves for all judgment on ourselves and others. Thank you.
Hi.
Welcome back, Aileta.
Thanks.
It's such a calming transmission. I mean, there's so much energy there that we really have to relax and slow down to receive it. And that's precisely what the message was. Slow down.
Yeah.
Ease and grace.
Ease and grace, sure.
Okay, so that's a very hopeful, because we have the information with us, right? So many times we want to reach for it. We want to bring it in from off planet, but it's within us. So the next question for the beings, any beings that you want to bring forth on the Ascended Master Realm or the Angelic Realm would be that there's a common question here from our audience. So many have a deep desire to connect to the galactic family, to heal ourselves and others, or for guidance. Can you share? Sarala would like to know, will it happen in this lifetime?
Okay.
And I think all of us would like to know some tips on how we do that.
Okay. All right. Galactic, we mean the beings of other dimensions, planets, and the ones surrounding our planet in on ships. Is that what we're talking about? Yes.
That sounds wonderful, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I couldn't have said it better.
Oh, no. Here we go.
All right.
Geez, okay. Okay, I did introduce, or at least speak of, my great friend and guide at this time, Frank Alper, or Adamus, as he referred to himself. I think he'd like to come through and address this, because during his incarnation as Frank, he channeled many beings from the ships. And Loren, I've channeled several beings from the ships for you.
Yes.
On our many adventures, on the beach.
Amazing.
And so, just this is very emotional for me, so just I need a second, but it's a very, the person who helped me refine my channeling and taught me many things is going to come through me, and this is just a great privilege, great honor.
Oh. Very special.
Okay. My beloveds, I am so grateful to be amongst you today. I am so proud. I am so proud of all of you. This is Adamus. I will give you a moment, because I am sending my frequency to each and every one of you. I had the privilege of being Aileta Grace's teacher, mentor, and dear friend. She came to us for a soul reading. And a soul reading is when we basically tap into the higher self and the Akashic records and tell you a bit about the many expressions you've had. And so she and I have walked the planet on a number of occasions together, this being one of them, but I departed in 2005 before we got an opportunity to reunite in person, but we have reunited Indeed, we have. For those of you who may want to know more about me, I expressed as Peter, one of the disciples of Jesua, and I send you the blessings of that aspect of me. And I had one other notable, that of Moses. I'm a quiet presence among the ascended masters. And I will tell you this, that each one of you is family to a vast array of galactic beings who for many centuries now, in your time frame, have been unable to be amongst us freely. But you can connect with your families at this time. It is critically important that in your meditation, in your daily life, and however and wherever you can, to create a sacred space of safety, harmony, love for them to come amongst us. There's been much controversy, much divide, much difficulty, and yet we are living in a time of nearly full disclosure, nearly full. And I say that because your governments internationally, your governments do not wish to impart the information. And yet, to those of you who are mystics, to those of you who are scientists, to those of you who are well-rounded people, you already know the truth. And the truth is unavoidable. The truth is the truth here. We are not alone. And there are many, many beings of many different expressions and species who are of great love, who are of great ability, who are of higher levels of civilization. And we say higher not to impart importance or lack thereof. But we say this because they have already reached the realms of civilizations that can share information, that can live in and amongst each other with complete and total harmony of expression. This is what we are here on Earth. We are striving for. We are committed to. And so, will it happen in your lifetime? Speaking to the individual. Yes. Yes, it will. Please be mindful of and courageous towards speaking this truth. Even if you do it gently. Aileta basically imparts this to people in her work and other places. We are finding that most people are open-minded to the ideas. The ideas have sifted into the mass consciousness through entertainment venues, through alternative media, through mainstream media, through small snippets of information that are true from your space agencies throughout the many countries who are involved in space exploration. And yes, there are things happening that are not part of the mainstream information platforms that are offered to you. But if you seek, you shall find. Connecting with your galactic heritage is helpful indeed to your growth. It opens a portal, much like portals open for you when you travel abroad or you go to a community that's unknown to you and you meet people that speak a different language and your heart opens with glee because the one universal that we learn is that we are all light and we are all love and we all share our hearts. How do you connect? How do we connect to our galactic family? Those of you who may have a starting point already know what star system you are connected to. In your meditation, with your mind, and breathing through a very open heart chakra, ask to connect to the beings. I will state without a doubt that you will have one or two very special good friends that are waiting to hear from you. Do not allow society's messages of fear that beings are coming to take over, to exploit, to imprison. Do not allow those messages to interfere with your communication and your open-mindedness and your love for your family. Do not allow your humanness to interfere with what creatures may or may not look like. Because creatures and beings, humanoids and non-humanoids, all have consciousness. And this is one of the great lessons of Gaia. And we still have a way to go when it comes to differences, not being differences at all. And so we have to open our minds. It is kind of, well, we have Halloween coming up, so we enjoy the passage of Halloween and dressing in costumes, and we call it scary. There is nothing scary about beings of light who wish to share ways of communicating, ways of developing technologies, and ways of just being present and friendly and harmonious towards us, so that we may become part of a greater galactic family. So step by step, if you do not know your heritage, we can probably find that for you. If you already know, some of you have multiple heritages. Some of you started out developing your consciousness on the Orion belt and ended up in Venus, and some of you are from Sirius, and some of you are from universes that if I were to say to you what the language is, it's not even something that I could use your alphabet to tell you. And so these messages will come to you directly. And if you need your guides to bring them through, there are many masters and channels that can help you with that. So you start out with your origin. You may have multiple, so don't get all crazy like, I thought I was from Venus. No, you're from Orion. No, you're from Sirius. Some of you have multiple heritages. Some of you are so ancient that you have traveled through this galaxy and other galaxies throughout time and space. And so you've made many friends and you've had many families. Ask to connect to the one or two beings that are your special ambassadors, guides, and best friends. And sit with patience. If you like to write, metaphorically speaking, hand them over the pencil. You can take a notebook or a journal and ask to receive a name or a picture. If you are inclined musically, ask to receive a tone, a melody, a song. If you are inclined with words, ask for the words. Don't judge the words. Don't judge the picture. Don't judge the melody. Receive it. You are, each and every one of you, a channel of higher consciousness. Never doubt that. What blocks us is our doubt. What blocks us is our fear. So if that's where you start and you recognize the fear, well then just contact your higher self and say, I release the fear. Release the fear to the atmosphere, to the universe. We'll catch you. We've got you. In my lifetime, I wanted the Galactics to land. I wanted the beings of all these star nations to be amongst us. And alas, says Frank Alper, I cannot. I could not. But I can see that you will, patience, take a little time, whenever you can, each day, to remember your family. Even if you don't have a conscious memory, remember them, honor them, send them love. You will begin to feel the frequencies. And those frequencies are a little bit different than ascended masters and archangels. They are more like the dolphins. For those of you who are familiar with those frequencies, are a little like that. A lot like it, but a little different. Just as a practical tidbit for you. Deborah's legs have fallen asleep, so we're going to step aside and let Loren talk for a minute. All right. Wow. It's been an immense pleasure, and I will be back to talk to you another time. But I'm very proud of my dear one. I'm very proud of her. We love her. We love her so much. Thank you, Loren.
Frank Alper, thank you for those messages on tuning in, tapping in, connecting to the galactic family. So beautiful. We simply have to ask for it. And even if we don't consciously remember, we'll begin to feel those energies. So pay attention, stay centered, release the fear to the atmosphere.
Did he say that? Yeah, atmosphere, release it. We got you. I heard the we got you.
And I really love, I do really love the message that the galactic family is like the dolphin energy. I was chatting with another friend before this show earlier today, and they had an ET experience, and it was that love that you're talking about that was just expressed in that transmission. The people who experience the ET galactic ships are just overwhelmed with the love. And that's what happens to us when we're in the dolphin energy, swimming with them, or even meditating with them.
Yes, yeah, it's a beautiful energy. And I will say that the Galactics, they do come through. I mean, the Arcturians, I've listened to Sue, and many of them do come through, and they are mostly coming through. Every once in a while, an individuated frequency comes through, but they mostly come through as a consciousness, as a one mind kind of consciousness, and they're very powerful and very loving. I mean, they have a great appreciation, and they just love us. And many of them are our protectors, and many of them are guiding us, and they're hopeful too. They want to be able to, commingle and have us visit them, and us visit them, and them visit us. And there is some exchange probably going on, and I won't get into all of that, but it's time that we all grow up. I've talked in forums about topics not related to this, but I always tend to relate to our ascension and to our becoming fuller expressions of our higher selves. And I've heard myself say to people when they want to argue about things of Earth, I've heard myself say to them, we need to grow up spiritually. We need to grow up. And I get these looks and stares, and they go, yeah, what do you mean by that? And I'll go into it a little bit. But I often say, look, if we on Earth cannot get along, and we don't find the way to reach into the core of our true nature, and dismiss all of the differences, and begin to realize that in this past matrix, I don't want the dog to disconnect us, to connect, he almost disconnected us, to connect to, they're both in here, the cat and the dog, they just love these frequencies.
They do.
Yeah, they do. They know them and they love them. We have to come together as humanity, is what I'm saying. And if we're arguing about religions, and we're arguing about race, and we're arguing about gender, and we're arguing about all of those things,
politics,
then we're not ready. We're not ready. And so when I looked at everybody, I said, we have to get ready. And we have to grow up spiritually. And I have told officers, I have told them, I said, listen, if we receive the visitation from some of the galactic beings that are out there, we'd have to get our act together really quickly, because we're fighting amongst ourselves, and that doesn't make any sense. And we really need someone out there to show the mass consciousness, the masses, that there's more to us than just that portion, that third dimensional thing, it is crumbling and breaking, and it's showing itself in very odd and unique ways, but it is very exhausting for some of us. It's very troubling for some of us, and we need to remember to breathe and breathe and breathe and just relax and find that soft, peaceful, joyful place, and remember who we are. If we always go back to remembering who we are, we're going to be okay.
This from a woman who works in a metropolitan police department. And this is so beautiful. I just have to reiterate that.
Listen,
you
go ahead.
Raise the vibration. If you're talking to police officers about ETs coming in, that is being courageous and being mindful when you're speaking the truth of that. And I just love that about you, Deb.
Thank you. But you can't assume that people in any kind of job anywhere is not aware. I mean, you find them everywhere in dental offices. I was in the Sprouts supermarket, giving Sprouts
there's plenty of people like us there.
Well, in Sprouts, yeah. But you know what? It was like 16-year-old talking about higher dimensions in the hospital where my mother was, for surgery. Awesome. I was talking to the guy who was selling me coffee, and he was all about the dimensions of space and time and ascension. I mean, we're everywhere. We're everywhere, and it was meant for us to be everywhere, right?
Yes, and come together right now. This is a movement, we've said this before, this is a movement of light that is too big to be stopped, so it is beautiful. Okay, all right, well, we have a few more minutes left, and I want to just say, personal sessions with Aileta Grace are with the masters. The masters come forward to answer your specific question, or questions rather. And again, personally, it has helped me in my life with the direction, with the connection with my spirit guides. In the beginning with Deb or Aileta Grace, Deb introduced me to my council, and then I went and sat and worked with them in meditation. And it was amazing to really feel their energy and then to literally work with them the ways that I've worked with them. So we are here to tell you about a special offer with Aileta Grace for a personal channeling session. And who knows who comes through. So, Aileta, before we say goodbye, we do have time for a couple of questions.
Sure.
So let's see you in action. We're going to unmute our phone line here, and we're going to take a message, a call from Dayton, Ohio, and it's Dolores. Hello, Dolores.
Oh, hi, Loren. And
Hi, Dolores.
Hi. I am so honored to listen to you and hear what you have to say. And I had the distinct privilege of Katumi coming to me a few weeks ago, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And I don't know if Katumi's going to come back and communicate with me again or not, but that was pretty awesome. So I just wondered if he has any messages for me, or Dwal Kul. I have been working with Dwal Kul with the 49 Reyes, and with the 21st Ray of climate control, which he's master of. And so I feel honored to be able to do that. So if any of them have a message from me, I'm open to receive.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Loren, I'm going to need a minute, but yeah, I will do that. Okay. Let me see.
Okay.
All right. I just, physically I was sitting in a weird position, so now I'm just trying to unhinge. I'm trying to unhinge the body a little bit. Okay. Kasumi. Yes, actually, Dolores, Kasumi came through earlier today for me, and he told me that there were individuals that would be on the line today that were going to want to hear from him. So that's
wonderful.
That's what's going on here.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Well, hello, my dear. Lord Kasumi here. How are you doing?
I believe I'm doing very well.
You are indeed. You are indeed. We are honored that you have heard our call and are working with us. We will say to you that our frequency around you, I don't know if we've come across very strongly, but we did that because we wanted to get your attention. We had been working with you, unbeknownst to you, perhaps several years already. And we are indeed very close. We have worked together in the past, in past expressions upon the earth. And it is delightful to be a witness to your evolution and your progress and your fierce passion for Gaia. You have a beautiful love for her that is unique to your spirit, to your soul. And so we are grateful for your endeavors and for your abilities at this time.
Awesome. That's great.
Yes, you're welcome. We have Dwal Kul standing by, so we were going to bring him, give him a moment, because we know that you work very closely with Dwal Kul as well, and some very pertinent, very, very pertinent work, right? Yes,
right.
Indeed. Yes. Okay. Deb here for a second. Hold on. When I feel all cool, you know, it's so funny. They each have such an amazing individual expression. So I hear myself saying the word 3 times, yes, 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 and I know it's coming through. So funny, so hilarious. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. My beloved Dolores, this is Master Dwell here to thank you. Thank you, thank you. You've been working most graciously and very hard on all of the Reyes. We wish to say that the timing of your work is very critical. And we want to ask of you to continue to work as you have and to pay attention to the weather patterns that are coming forth. Your being, your ability is, and I think you know this to be true, is of the very elaborate knowing of how to change and shift weather patterns to assist humanity and to assist Gaia at the same time. Does this make sense? Yes?
Yeah, I've been working with that.
Yes, yes, yes. And so we would ask you to continue to do that. There are some weather patterns that are going to be manifesting here on North American continent. And we ask that you pay attention to those. In the United States, it is the Midwest. And there are some issues coming up in Central America. And we ask you to pay attention to that as well. And to be mindful of self-care. And so stepping away from all of the work that you do, please take time to take care of yourself, to get proper rest. You are very healthy indeed, but it's time to give yourself a break too. So we ask that you work hard, and then we ask that you not work so hard. So that's the perfect message, right? Okay.
It's interesting because I have noticed the last week or so I have not been sleeping well, and I know the energies of the planet are pretty intense. So is that why I'm not sleeping?
Yes, well, you've been working with frequencies that are of a very different sort. And so that combined with the planetary vibrations and how hard you're working is what's going on. But we will, along with a group of us that are attending this show, we'll work with you tonight as you rest your head and as you get ready to go to sleep. Please tune in to us and please work with a ray of very, very soft light. Don't bring in the colors of violet or green or deeper hues of jewels. Don't bring in jewels. Bring in very pastel color, very soft, very pale pink, very pale silver, very pale gold. If you work with these frequencies tonight, it will be a detox for your energy body. And that is what's going on. Your energy body is all revved up on all of these frequencies, the ones that you're working with for us and the ones of the planet. And so that gives you a double dose of too much. And so tonight you will rest.
Oh, wonderful. I'll look forward to that.
Yes. Yes. Anything else, my dear one?
No, I think you've answered and you've given me some good information here, and you kind of validated some of the information that I had received. And so that it's always nice to get validation. And
You're welcome.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to assist and work with both of them and others.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm very honored.
Here.
I'm very honored.
We are honored for your service and your beingness and your love. Many blessings, dear one.
Thank you. Blessings to you also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thank you.
Again, that was wild that you picked up on the way that she's been working with the healing energies on Earth, and I just love that. Again, it's validation on many points, and this is really great guidance.
That was raw cool. That wasn't me. That was raw cool.
That was raw cool. And actually tuning in with the higher selves of everyone where these messages come through. Okay, that's cool. Well, we're so out of time, but Aileta, if you're good, I'll take one more caller.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, good. I think it's just so fun. All right, let's go to Naples, Florida. Phone number ending in 1115. Hi, you're unmuted. What's your name, please?
Hello, this is Susan. I'm so happy and honored to be able to speak with you.
Susan,
the honor is mine. Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. I would like to know whoever would like to come through and help me know what my purpose is. I have ideas, although I don't know if they're the right ones.
Oh, okay. There are no right or wrong ones, in my experience. It's just what unfolds organically and naturally and brings your heart happy. And I'm going to bring in someone. I just don't know who yet, and I'm trying to get myself ready. So,
okay.
Wow. Okay. Kuan Yin. Blessings, masters. Masters of the feminine, goddesses, and the heart of love. This is Kuan Yin. We are honored to be here, and we would love to share with Susan a little bit about setting intentions. Okay. Okay. So your intentions are to serve, and our entire universe, our entire multiverse is built upon service. And so you come to us with this beautiful question, with this beautiful being that you are, in terms of what is your purpose. And so this is really for everyone. Your purpose is to bring your higher self forth and to serve. That's the most global purpose, right? And then we see healing. We see your love for beings, many beings. We see you teaching, and we see you combining. There's a blending of sorts of 3 or 4 loves that you have. And what's going to happen as you set your intention, I was like, I don't want to not do that, and I don't want to not do that. There's going to be a way where you could bring them all together. What about the newest venture? Is it instruction? It's instruction in? Are you an instructor? Are you instructing now? You are.
Of sorts, yes. I help people be more successful in leadership.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the most powerful place that you reside. I'm getting a little, I apologize to both. I'm getting a little distracted by the cat. The cat wants to be with Kuan Yin and she's kind of pulling me away. So that's why I asked you that question. Just give me a minute. We'll come back. I'm sorry. This is channeling 101. Don't let your cat in the room. Wait a minute. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Kuan Yin is back. Kuan Yin here. Okay. So what we see you doing is this thing, this teaching that you do, inspiring people, will have various disciplines. We'll have various unfoldings. And I guess what we want to offer you is different topics. And then as you get more and more into your evolution in terms of your mastery, because you have a great deal of mastery and you're inspiring people to become better leaders, to become more effective communicators, to become more effective bosses, to become more effective employees, to become more effective entrepreneurs, you're going to develop new curriculums around that. Different curriculums, different audiences. And so one of your great purposes is to inspire people to be their best self. And what's ironic about the question that you asked, dear one, is that you want to know your purpose, but your purpose is to help other people find their purpose. That's what we see. Because when people are around you, they get inspired. They're so inspired by the way you've come across and by the methods that you've given them. And so this is a great gift. This is a great gift that you have. And it comes naturally to you. Now, if there are other things that are in your heart, we say they may come across as more like, people call them hobbies. But you may be able to integrate some of those beautiful, loving things that you do into the various curriculums. And we will say this. You, my dear, can channel the masters. You already channel the angels. You will be channeling, and you don't even have to tell people you're channeling, right? You just get up there and you talk. But you bring forth some of the highest level vibrations, and people leave feeling so good, and they go, wow, that was great. She's really awesome. And so don't be afraid to venture out into this. It will become more successful for you when we define successful in various ways. We can say, 3D successful, yes. Financially, yes. As far as your audience, you're going to find that you're going to have a vast array of people from different walks of life, young and old alike, all trying to figure out how they can become their best selves, how they can become their best expression of who they are. And the thing that we want you to consider studying, as if you already aren't, but a little deeper study, a little deeper in terms of connecting to higher self so that you could teach others about what Aileta Grace has talked about today, the portal to the higher self. What does that look like for you? And how would you guide people into that domain? Does that all resonate, my dear?
Oh, yes, that's very beautiful. Yes. And it's been what's in my heart because in my career, I have helped people be more successful and in a capitalist way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't see how, as we are evolving, how that was going to play out because of, our hopefully our upcoming shift where that shouldn't be as pressing of an issue as it has been in previous times for us.
Right. Well, we are all working on that, all of us. But I will say this, call yourself a mentor. You are a spiritual mentor. And we as in all humanity here, we need examples like you, like Deborah, of people who've been, as Loren says, in the trenches, right? Mm-hmm. We've been in the trenches. And so it's okay to have been in the trenches. It's the world of our creation. It's the trenches we created. Now we're uncreating and we're creating something new because we know that humanity deserves a higher expression of love. And Gaia deserves a higher expression of love. And so draw the empowerment, and don't forget that, you know, mentoring and establishing those leadership guidelines for people who need to create a sustainable living for themselves. There are so many powerful spiritual dimensions to creativity. So look at it as that. The more creative you are, the more you'll be able to sustain and take care of your family, yourself. You know, it is a beautiful thing. We cannot, we want a different way of being. And we know that an elevated society does not require a currency. But such that it is right now, we are gently, with ease and grace, as my brother has said before, ease and grace, we are transitioning to this new earth. And because it's in our heart, our mind, and our DNA, our souls, and in the matrix of a new creation, that we won't need currency, but we will always need creativity, and we will always need to be able to take care of ourselves, however that looks. And so be bold and go ahead and do whatever comes to you because it's all good.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome, my love.
Yen, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. That was very beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just what you needed to hear, right, Susan?
Yes, Loren. Actually, yes, it was.
I know it is so amazing the way that we are given the direction. It's like we know it, but then as the last person, Dolores, said too, it's validation. So for me, it's like a roadmap. It's like a higher dimensional business plan.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling on me. I'm so very grateful.
Well, thank you for sharing, Susan.
Be well, Susan. Thank you so much. I'm honored to have channeled that for you.
Thank you so much. That was very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Aileta Grace, I just want to say comments coming in from our community say tears, the feeling of these frequencies and messages are just filled with love and you can feel it.
I had fun, and I want to thank you, dear sister, for bringing me out of the closet. What can I say?
She's out of the police department closet. This is something that you do in your life, right? And you've been doing this all your life, and you've helped me tremendously with these messages and the connection with Dwal Kul personally. But it's different for everyone. You tune in to their higher self, and this is what you do in a personal session. So do you want to add anything about what goes on there?
Well, what we will do is we'll talk for a few minutes about what you'd like to accomplish in the session. It's the no frills, like here, if you want to establish who your team is and who's guiding you at this time and get some messages of clarity, I'd be happy to bring that team through. We could also talk a little bit about your best way of communicating with them, because everybody is a little different. I think I remember Frank Alper saying today, if you draw, draw. If you write, write. If you sing or do music, do that. And the messages will be clear for you because this is the way you communicate with spirit and with the other dimensions. And so it's very beautiful because we're all so different, and yet we're all on this path together. And it would be my honor to work with you. I never know who's going to come through. I will say that once you're scheduled, I will tune in to the beings because they like to give you a little bit of advanced download, like they did today a little bit. A couple of the topics that were going to come up came up, and I was surprised by who came through. There were many, many beings that were paying attention and part of the collective, and that's what will happen in a reading. And if there's something specific you want to address, we will ask the beings to address that, and your team will be assembled, and your team will communicate with you, and I will do my best to step aside and bring forth whatever needs to be brought forth with great love and respect for and reverence for this process.
Beautiful. All right, so those personal sessions, about 45 minutes. We know that you're not a clock watcher and we'll cut it off, so it goes as long as it's necessary. Right. And that, of course, is available on the special offer button on this webpage. There's a link to that special offer on all of our broadcasting platforms. So we invite our community to check it out, to get the direction for New Earth. If that's something that is on your mind, in your heart, in your mission, this is a great facilitator to help you achieve new earth creations. Well, Aileta Grace, Deborah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have shared a lot of beautiful, pristine, high-frequency information. I just want to give you, the beautiful channel, a closing opportunity to say goodbye.
Oh, thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege to be your friend and your sister throughout time and space. I'm sending great amount of love to everyone who's on the program, people who will be listening later, and just tell you, let's all be kind to one another. Let's be compassionate towards ourselves. Don't be so hard on yourselves. You're all doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing in exactly the right time. And so let's honor each other. Namaste. I love you all, and I want to thank the beings that have surrounded me throughout my life, and my parents and my friends. I am just so privileged to be here and to be able to serve. It's my great, great honor. Thank you, Loren. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Aileta Grace, channeled from the higher self of Deborah. Thank you for this quantum conversation and high frequency experience. Thank you. Thanks, Goddess.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
If you'd like a personal session with Aileta Grace, otherwise known as Deb Reyes, please check out the special offer available on this platform. Thank you so much. It's also at acoustichealth.com. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.